Hi, folks. Welcome to Vassal ID Training's Counterfeit Driver License Recognition Program for 2021. Hi, folks. Let's start with the New Jersey Division of Alcohol Beverage Control Regulations. Age to purchase. What are the criteria for avoiding an underage sale violation? A licensee with retail license privileges cannot sell to a person under the legal age, 21 years old. A bartender or a sales clerk who violates this law will be subject to a disorderly persons charge, and the license itself will be subject to administrative charges under the statute. The law does recognize a valid defense to a charge that a person or licensee sold to someone under the legal age. For this defense, all of the following criteria must be established. 1. That the purchaser falsely represented his or her age by producing a photo driver license of any state or identification card issued by New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission, or an official photo identification card issued by any state or federal government, and that the purchaser falsely represented him in writing that he or she was of legal age to make the purchase, and that the purchaser appeared to be 21 years old or older, and that the purchaser appeared to be the person described in the proof of age. The three elements together are necessary to establish a valid defense to a charge of sale to a person under the legal age. Down the bottom, it also says, if there's any doubt that the purchaser is under 21 years of age, the sale should not be made. Licensees have the right to refuse a sale if they believe a purchaser is under the age of 21. And just a reminder that the Real ID in New Jersey has been extended to May 3rd of 2023, so you have a little less than 2 years to get a Real ID if you wish to. The document to the left is a Real ID license as it's indicated on the right corner. You see the star indicating that it is a Real ID, and the document to the right is a standard driver license. Other changes that went on with Real ID is the document will contain a full legal name, which is the full middle name will appear on the driver license. These enhancements started a few years ago, but if you have any questions about the Real ID, just go on to the New Jersey website or www.realidnewjersey.com for full details. Here are some tools you're going to need for your job. Basically a UV light, and you want to get one that's 365 nms, not 375, not 395. 365 is the one to get. Less than $10 off Amazon or any other place on the web. And a magnifier that's at least 10, 20, or 30 magnifications. And basically for these two items, you can get less than $20. And they're very, very good in determining what's good and what's bad. Here's what some of the driver license security features that we want you to look for. One is microprinting. Microprinting may contain a deliberate error, omission of a letter, multiple laser images, changeable laser images. They're pretty new on driver licenses in the last few years. Same goes for laser perforations and also color shifting ink. Also, you'll see transparent windows on driver licenses with a ghost image located inside. You'll see a lot of fine line pattern background. That's a very good indicator if you have a counterfeit. A lot of the counterfeits are blurry, they're not fine lined. Also, UV images on these driver licenses. You can use your blacklight to authenticate. Also, you'll see on driver licenses what's called a document discriminator number, or a DD number. You see here on a California license is a long number. Basically, a DD is a security code that identifies where and when a license was issued. Next, we'll look at how driver licenses are made, or what's known as the substrate. Number one is Teslin. It's a synthetic paper. It's been around since the 1980s. Number two is polyethylene, or polyvinyl chloride. About 60% of the licenses that are made today are made of this type. And number three is polycarbonate. That's the latest and greatest substrate you can use for a driver license. Okay, let's talk about New Jersey. We got some changes to how driver licenses are issued. In October, November of 2020, NJMVC has started producing permanent licenses and IDs at a central processing facility. What that means is you no longer can come in and walk into an agency and get an actual driver license. You'll get a temporary driver license, and one would be mailed to you within about 2 weeks. Okay, the new document has some important features, which I want to go over next with you. The new document also appears to be a little bit thinner than the old license. So when you grab that new license and you say, man, this license seems to be fake because it's real thin, that's a polyvinyl chloride license. And those licenses are thin, almost as thin as a piece of paper. Let's start with the new driver license with the new iridescent ink security feature on there. As you can see here, we have 2 holograms. And basically, these holograms are just 2 circles of the Great Seal of the State of New Jersey, the word New Jersey, and the NJs right here. They're basically 3 colors. One is gold, one is green, and one is silver. As you tilt it a certain way, the colors may vary a little bit. And on the new format driver license, you'll notice a different blacklight image. You'll have 2 seals that will fluoresce right here, and one over here. Word New Jersey will also fluoresce. That's on the new format. The previous format, you'll see cascading across the front, top, and bottom, the word New Jersey, and then silhouettes of New Jersey. Also, another change to the document was the sex. It went from sex to gender right here. It can be male or female. And also, you might see the letter X may also be present there as well. Other changes to the new document. As you can see here, the new document is a blue header. Previous document was a red header, right? Also, it has NJMVC abbreviated. The previous license had it spelled out. On the reverse side, the previous document had a 1D barcode going vertical, and the current issue now has a 1D barcode going horizontal. Let's start out with the older issue first. As you can see, holograms. You'll probably see about 3 or 4 holograms located on the document with the letters NJ inside. Also, the name is printed vertically. The reverse side, you're going to see the 1D barcode here, 2D barcode up here, and redundant data located right here. That is the subject's initials, first initial, last name initial, month, day, and year of birth. Also, the expiration dates on licenses. Most of the New Jersey licenses now, the expiration dates are going to be the date of birth of the subject, of the driver. That came out in 2018, a little over 3 years ago, but some will still have expiration dates of the last day of the month, and a few will have some time during the middle of the month or special issue driver licenses. One area you want to look with your magnifier is located right in the grayscale swirl right here. There you'll see in microprint the Garden State continuously around that swirl. As you can see on the left here, you can see microprinting the Garden State continuing up and around. And if you look at a counterfeit, you can barely see any letters. They look like a bunch of series of dots. When you see this, then you know you have the fake license. Here's a counterfeit New Jersey driver license. You'll notice that on the bottom, it has a UV image. This is a counterfeit UV image. So it's very important that you don't just check one thing on a driver license. Right? You check every security feature that you know you can verify. And new driver licenses today also pass what's called the Bend test. All right, previously, older driver licenses, thick driver licenses, you bend them and you get multiple creases, a crack or break in half. New counterfeits, they no longer do that. Let's take a look at the current Pennsylvania driver license. Right here, it has holograms. It's a Virtue, Liberty, Independence, the outline of the Keystone, and the year 1787. It also has microdot printing on these red wavy lines that go through the document. Now, the first group of 6, all right, the 4th line down, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, right here, the microprinting says Liberty, but every T is upside down. That's what we call a deliberate error. This only occurs in the first group of 6. The remaining group of 6 microprint, the T will be right side up. Let's take a closer look at a Pennsylvania driver license security feature right here. It's called the altered font. You see the letter E and EXP here for expiration. The bottom line, on E is shorter than the other two. So if you look close here, you notice that the bottom line is shorter than the other two. That's supposed to be like that. That's purposely done like that. As you can see on this counterfeit, the bottom line is the same size as the other two. That would indicate that this is a counterfeit driver license. And there's a closer look at the micro printing again. On the top group of 6, you clearly see the letter T's are upside down. That's what it should be. Okay, let's take a closer look at the micro dot printing on that Pennsylvania driver license. A lot of counterfeit Pennsylvania licenses have pretty good micro dot print. And where it falls apart is when that micro dot print comes across the forehead of the driver. Notice that it's dark black in color. You can barely read the word Liberty. Letters are missing. But if you look at the genuine standard right here, you can clearly read the word Liberty, and its color is greenish yellowish. That's what it's supposed to be. And here's the blacklight image or a UV image on a Pennsylvania license. Very detailed image, highly detailed. It's very hard for a counterfeiter to duplicate that. But just a warning that some of the legitimate driver licenses, you can barely see the blacklight image. So just be aware of that. Also, they will counterfeit the laser perforations, as you can see here. This is a counterfeit laser perforation, and this is a genuine one. So when you put that flashlight behind the counterfeit and you see, hey, looks like it's real, and again, you just checked one thing, and if that's all you do, the person is going to get by you. All right? Check all the security features that are available to you on that driver license. If you know them all, or most of them, you can do this fairly quickly. This is the state of New York driver license. This is a polycarbonate design, polycarbonate substrate right here. They issued this in July of 2013, so about 7 years ago. Some of the features on the card is they have micro printing all over the front of the card and all over the back of the card. They have raised print, the signature of the driver. You put your finger over that, you feel it's raised from the document. It's called laser engraved printing. It also has a clear window. Okay, and there's something unique to this. In a little bit, I'll show you what that is. Here's a good shot of the micro printing in a few areas of the genuine New York driver license. As you see here, the micro printing, it says New York State going across. You also notice that right here, where it says new, the N one time is reversed. The counterfeit below, you can barely read out, barely read this. And there's micro printing throughout the document. Again, take your eye loop, examine those areas to see if you've got a license that's real or counterfeit. Another great way and quick way to tell if a New York State driver license is fake is get a flashlight, put it through the lower right-hand corner where the clear window is. If you see a negative image, so like this, pretty much looking at a good license. If you do not see a negative image and the photo does not change at all, then you're probably looking at a counterfeit. So it'll take you less than 3 seconds to determine if you got a real one or a counterfeit simply using a flashlight. This is the New York State driver license UV image. It covers and encompasses the whole front. And you see here it says New York State. Mostly it's blue in color. Some will have maybe a greenish color up here where it says NYS. You might see some green there. You might see some green up there as well. But the blacklight image on the back is the same basically. It's very ornate, very detailed. Here's a closer view of that blacklight image from New York. As you can see, this is a little bit different color. It's like a greenish color up here, yellowish. And the counterfeit is blue, just like the rest of the document right here. So that's why you need a good UV light, a good black light. That will determine, it'll take that color from the blue to, you'll be able to see that yellow or greenish. And a counterfeit, they just use one color. So you see here a Delaware issue of 2018. You'll see micro printing in this area right here. Probably contain a deliberate error. Micro printing on the bottom, micro printing along the side. So you get the idea that micro printing's throughout these documents. And it's not just Delaware. A lot of documents, a lot of states issued driver licenses in the last 5, 6, 7 years. They load up the micro printing in different sizes and different areas. It's difficult for counterfeiters to duplicate the micro printing in all those areas. Also, the blacklight image here, you'll see a photograph of the driver. In this case here, we have the driver's initials, also his year of birth. Also, you'll see a UV image as well as Caesar Rodney, man on a horse right here. Caesar Rodney's historic reference to Delaware. This is the state of Connecticut's new issue in 2017 or 2018, I believe. And again, just like the Delaware license, you're going to find microprinting throughout the document. You'll see right here the word Connecticut in microprint. Where the airplane is, the word Connecticut. If you look close enough, you'll find some errors in there, consistent with deliberate errors. It also has laser perforation of a whale. You put a flashlight directly behind it, a green arrow is pointing, you're going to see a whale appear. A little closer inspection of the Connecticut license. You'll see these fine lines right here that contain microprint. And there's your whale again. You'll see right here. Also, counterfeiters will duplicate this. So it should be there, you check it, but then you want to verify the microprinting and the blacklight imaging, which will be on the next slide. And again, here's the UV image on the front and back of the current Connecticut driver license. Very intricate UV image, very hard for counterfeiters to duplicate. You see that the more intricate image you can put on your driver license, the better off you are as far as determining if you have something good or something bad. They also put a blacklight image on the back of the driver, photograph of the driver, along with his month, day, and year of birth. And here's a good illustration of a counterfeit Connecticut driver license. The actual document looks very well made compared to the genuine standard, but look at the hologram. The hologram says seal of authenticity, genuine. Seal of authenticity. Now, these seals came out 20, 25 years ago. Any holographic image or seal on any government document is going to say something about that particular state, county, or city. So if it was a state of New Jersey, it's going to probably say state of New Jersey here. State of Connecticut is probably something about Connecticut or some type of historic reference. Never a generic type holographic image should appear on government documents. Here is the state of Illinois current issue. It celebrates Abraham Lincoln. You see in a background portrait of Abraham Lincoln here. This document, similar to the Maryland document, similar to the Connecticut document, wavy lines, micro dot printing all the way throughout here. You see a good illustration of the micro dot printing right here where the arrow is pointing in between the wavy lines. It says Illinois Secretary of State, microprint continuously here. Also in this area right here is microprinting. And here's your laser perforation, the outline of the state of Illinois, right above the ghost image. And they have a blacklight image located on the back of the driver license. Same as Connecticut, basically photograph of the driver and the date of birth. And this is the state of Maryland. Maryland is one of those polycarbonate based driver licenses. And the manufacturer says if you drop a polycarbonate driver license on an angle on a hard surface, it's going to sound like metallic or metal on there. So if you get a New York license, Maryland license, Wisconsin license, dropping it on an angle, you'll hear like a tinny sound, like tin foil. Here you'll see the blacklight image. Right here, a large circular blacklight image. Up here it says Maryland and a UV image. It also has race printing. Date of birth race print. Date expiration date and race print. And also this is this changeable laser image or multiple laser image. As you tilt the license back and forth, the photograph will disappear, the date of birth will appear, and vice versa. This is the front side again, and the back side, you see the blacklight image of the outline of the state of Maryland, also the picture of the driver in a UV image. Also the Department of Transportation in UV image as well. This line going across, guess what that is? That's micro dot printing. Also on the front of the document, just like the Illinois license, you see these wavy lines. Inside there is micro dot printing as well. So UV light magnifier. Those are the two main things you need to authenticate driver licenses effectively. This is the current South Carolina driver license. Again, just like the previous licenses, we talked about multiple areas of microprint throughout the front of the document, from top to bottom. You'll see main photograph, ghost image photograph, also a laser perforation of a palmetto tree and quarter moon right here in this area. So if you put a flashlight behind that, you'll be able to see that particular laser image. Here's the state of Florida's latest driver license, came out in 2017. They also made some revisions in 2020. See the word Florida in green. As you can see, it's a real ID license. Here's your DL number. You'll see a subject initials and year of birth right above the gold element. This is a see-through gold element. And once you put light behind it, this gold becomes clear under here. And here's the current issue again. You'll see the UV image going diagonally, FL here, FL going this way, the state of Florida, the letters FL as well, FL here, and there's our gold element. And then the gold look-through element turns clear when backlit and fluoresces under a UV light, okay, the mini portrait. So they have holograms, UV images, micro dot printing. I'll show you the slide of that next one up. You'll see a 1D barcode here. They also got a mag stripe, which a lot of licenses do not have. A lot of states still are getting away from them. There's your 2D barcode. And when we talk about the barcodes, barcodes for verifying documents are pretty useless as far as the counterfeiters will duplicate everything on a barcode. So if you have a scanner that you scan these documents with, it'll come up good. I had many cases that I was involved in where a counterfeit, when I scanned it, came up with the same information as in the front of the license as a genuine one would. So if you're scanning driver licenses and that's all you're doing to verify someone's age, there's a good chance that you're going to let somebody in your establishment or sell alcohol to somebody in your establishment that's underage. And like I said, the state doesn't care. ABC, they don't care about, I scanned it, it came up good, doesn't matter, okay? So if I owned a bar or a restaurant or a package store, I would never use a scanner. I would use it in certain instances, but I would never rely on it solely to see if that driver license is good or bad. There are some benefits to a scanner, a large area, large nightclub, you can count how many people came in. You can duplicate uses of licenses. You can, one's already scanned in, some other guys will come in an hour later, a pass-off type situation. That's different. But as far as solely as age to purchase, I would not use it just for age or purpose on here. And here's a closer shot of the seal around the state of Florida. So you see the micro printing around the letter F, the letter L, O, R, I, D, A. So that is your micro printing. Also, it's in other areas as well. Notice the fine line detail in the back. Right? See that right there? All that is put there for a purpose. With your magnifier, be able to see that. Now, if you looked at a counterfeit with your magnifier in these certain areas, and you'll find lines that break up, lines that are faded, lines that are jagged, that's an indicator you're looking at a counterfeit. So that $8 magnifier, that $9 UV light, for less than $20 can save you from getting fined from the state if you accept a document that's counterfeit and the person is underage. So a little effort on your side. The expense is less than $20. There is no excuse that you can verify these documents quickly. So it's important that you verify this area. Again, it's the blow up, and you could take basically any state in the nation, any state driver license, and do the same thing, and you'll find this particular design. You'll find micro printing in certain areas. So it doesn't matter what state it is, doesn't matter what area, just scan it and you'll find it somewhere. And just a note, United States passports have changed. It's called the Next Generation U.S. Passport 2020. Still blue in color, But if you open up the bio page, you notice the bio page is a little bit different than the previous one. All right, also has another photograph on the inside cover with micro printing all the way throughout this. This bio page right here is made out of, guess what? Polycarbonate. Very hard to duplicate, very hard to replace a photograph, very hard to alter data, because polycarbonate is not layered. It's put together, fused together. So if you got an X-Acto knife and try to change a date of birth or the name, the document's going to fall apart. So it's not going to lift. In previous passports and previous documents, you can actually lift laminates, lift layers of laminates. This one is not made like that. So if you do try to lift it, it's going to break apart. Also, you see ordinary passport or tourist passports, blue, official passport, burgundy, diplomatic passports are black, and then you have the service passport. Give it to contractors that go overseas, U.S. contractors, they're gray. So just in case someone comes in, has a passport, and it doesn't look like the previous passports, that's because they just got a brand new one. And the brand new ones are issued less than a year ago. During the pandemic, that's when they start issuing this particular passport. And in closing, I'd like to thank you for watching the video. I hope you learned a few things. You picked up a few new tips there on verification of documents. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know at Vassal ID Training at 609-556-5203 or vassalidtraining@gmail.com. Anything, you have a question about a document down the road, let me know. I'll be sure to help you out. Also, I'd like to thank everyone at Atlantic Prevention Resources and also the County of Cape May. For every year, they put on the We Check for 21 program, but due to the pandemic, the last couple of years, we weren't unable, and we put virtual programs together, and they were nice enough to contact me to get that done, and I was more than happy to do it for everybody, and hopefully next year, we'll see you in person. So until then, thanks for watching.